Alright, Nathan here from ClassicsShow, and I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars 1 Pod Racer. First thing here is this little cantina thing that some giant ugly guy walks like he's drunk. But you go over here, and you can choose which player you want to be. And there's a wide selection. Some of them are from the movie, the first Star Wars one, and some of them are just kind of made up. So I'll just pick Anakin, just because, I don't know, it looks easiest. You know, why not be Anakin? This game came out in 1999, and it's got decent graphics and pretty good sounds. It's got actual voices from the movies, but the graphics are okay. It could have been better for 1999, but I mean, they're decent. There was a pretty wide variety of locations you could race at, and one of them being the actual race on Tatooine, where they raced in the first movie. It's just one I'm going to pick. But, I mean, they're loosely based off of planets from the Star Wars galaxy. But here we go with the race. So you race against a group of other players. You have your map there, and it shows you your speed. And then you have, in the bottom left, is your engines. And if you hold down Z and then press forward on the joystick, then tap A, it will charge up your boost kind of thing, which makes you go a lot faster, right there. And you can keep going until it begins to overheat or until you crash. But in the bottom left, there's these two engine things, and you hit R to repair. And if you get too much damage, they'll of course break. And the steering is just with the analog stick, and then you press start to pause and hold down A to go. And then there's several parts in this race. I mean, it's a pretty big map. Some of the maps are smaller, but this one's decent size. And right here you're in this cavern. And then right here at the end of the cavern, there's this thing where you have to hit sideways on the C button to turn your pod, but I usually crash just because it's too small of a crack. And hitting sideways on C helps. And then there's these rocks here which do a little bit of damage, but they don't really do much. I mean, they look almost as if they're made of paper.
The game also had a good two-player feature, which I'll be playing here with my brother Patrick.
So you plug a second controller and hit two-player, and then you can both choose your characters. We're just going to both be Anakin for the sake of time. But anyway, so each pod has a different kind of thing, and then the maps all are different, obviously, and they also have a lot of shortcuts, which is surprising that they put that much time into it. And the game's decently easy, but it gets harder as it goes. And then it's a regular split screen: first player on top, second player on bottom. But like I said, it's a decently long map. You go around 3 times, and then with the two-player, instead of having a large amount of computer racers, you just have player 1 on top and player 1 on bottom. And there's these little flags in the middle of the screen showing who's in first, which I always thought was cool. And then you can see above the person's head their number of their position they're in, so you can always tell where you're at. And then you can also see on your screen which position you're in, and then what lap you're on.
Alright, so overall it's a good game. I mean, it's not really a Star Wars game, but it was one of the very, very few Star Wars games made on Nintendo 64. But I mean, not really Star Wars. It's loosely based on Star Wars 1, the first prequel, The Phantom Menace, which decent movie, but that's a different review. So the game, it's really just a racing game. It doesn't really have much to do with Star Wars. I'm surprised that the music was good, and they got actual voices from the movie. They just took the audio in it, like from where it says it's working. I remember that from the movie where he's toggling the little things on his pod racer. So decent game. I'll give it a 4 out of 6 stars, just because it's not really a Star Wars game.